usually starts with a voice. Not a face, not a name, just a voice moving faster than your brain can keep up. 1 second it's a Scottish nanny, the next it's a manic radio DJ, then suddenly a gentle therapist telling someone, "It's not your fault." That voice belonged to Robin Williams, a man who could make millions of people laugh uncontrollably, and, without warning, leave them completely still, thinking about life in a way they hadn't before. But the strange part is this. The energy that made him feel larger than life often came from a place that was quiet, lonely, and complicated. Robin McLaurin Williams was born on July 21st, 1951, in Chicago, into a household that looked stable from the outside. His father was a high-ranking executive at Ford, and his mother had a sharp wit and strong presence. Materially, he had everything. Emotionally, things were less simple. He spent a lot of time alone as a child, filling that silence the only way he knew how, by creating entire worlds in his head. He didn't just play, he performed, even when no one was watching. That habit, talking to himself in different voices, slipping into characters, wasn't something he learned later. It was survival. It was companionship. And eventually, it became his superpower. By the time he reached college, he briefly tried to follow a more serious path, studying political science. But it didn't stick. Something about it felt wrong, like trying to force a completely different personality onto himself. So he pivoted, eventually landing at the Juilliard School, one of the most intense acting institutions in the world. Even there, among highly trained performers, Williams stood out. Not because he was the most disciplined, but because he was the most unpredictable. While others refined technique, he exploded with creativity. He became close friends with Christopher Reeve, who would later recall how Williams could lift an entire room's mood within seconds. But structured acting alone couldn't contain him. He needed chaos. That chaos found its home in stand-up comedy. In the 1970s, Williams hit the comedy clubs of San Francisco and Los Angeles like a storm. Watching him perform wasn't like watching a comedian. It was like trying to keep up with a runaway train of ideas. He didn't just tell jokes, he became them. Characters, accents, impressions, absurd scenarios. Everything poured out of him in a rapid, almost uncontrollable stream. Other comedians had punchlines. Williams had explosions. It didn't take long before people started paying attention. Among his influences was Jonathan Winters, whose improvisational style clearly shaped Williams' approach. But even compared to his heroes, Williams felt like something new, faster, wilder, almost electric. Then came the moment that changed everything. In 1978, he appeared as an alien named Mork on Happy Days. The character was bizarre, naive, and completely unpredictable, perfect for Williams. Audiences loved him instantly, and what was meant to be a one-off appearance turned into a full series, Mork and Mindy. Suddenly, he wasn't just a rising comedian, he was a national phenomenon. Fame hit hard and fast, and like it often does, it came with a cost. Behind the scenes, Williams struggled to adjust. The pressure to always be on, always funny, always brilliant, it didn't switch off when the camera stopped. During this period, he fell into heavy drug use, particularly cocaine. It became part of the culture around him, part of the environment of success in that era. But things changed abruptly in 1982, when his friend John Belushi died from a drug overdose. The shock of that loss, combined with the birth of his first child, forced Williams to confront where his life was heading. He stepped away from drugs and committed to sobriety, a decision that would shape the rest of his life, even though he would face struggles again later. While television made him famous, film made him legendary. His early movie roles were uneven, but everything shifted with Good Morning, Vietnam. Playing a fast-talking radio DJ during the Vietnam War, Williams finally found a role that matched his natural energy. Much of his dialogue was improvised, and it showed. The performance felt alive, unpredictable, and real. For the first time, Hollywood saw that he wasn't just funny, he was extraordinary. Then came Dead Poets Society, and with it, a completely different side of Robin Williams. As John Keating, an English teacher encouraging students to seize the day, he delivered a performance that was calm, controlled, and deeply emotional. It proved something important. The man who could talk faster than anyone else could also say everything with silence. That duality became his signature. In the 1990s, Williams dominated cinema in a way few actors ever do. He moved effortlessly between comedy and drama, often within the same film. In Mrs. Doubtfire, he played a divorced father disguising himself as a British nanny, a ridiculous premise that he turned into something heartfelt and human. In Jumanji, he brought emotional depth to a fantasy adventure. And in Disney's Aladdin, his genie wasn't just a character. It was a performance that redefined animated voice acting. He didn't just play roles, he overwhelmed them. And then, in Good Will Hunting, he stripped everything back. No rapid-fire jokes, no wild characters. Just a quiet, compassionate therapist guiding a troubled young man. The famous "It's Not Your Fault" scene is often remembered as one of the most emotionally raw moments in modern film. That role earned him an Academy Award. But more importantly, it showed that beneath all the energy, all the humour, there was something deeply human and vulnerable. Off screen, that vulnerability never went away. Williams was married 3 times and had 3 children. He loved deeply, but relationships were complicated. Fame, addiction, and the constant pressure of being who the world expected him to be made stability difficult. In his later years, he continued working, taking on darker roles in films like 1 Hour Photo and Insomnia, where he played characters far removed from his usual warmth. These performances were unsettling, but also revealing. They hinted at something internal, something heavier. Then came the hardest chapter. Williams began experiencing severe health issues, anxiety, confusion, depression, and physical symptoms that didn't quite make sense at the time. He was initially diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, but after his death, it was revealed that he had Lewy Body Dementia, a condition that can affect mood, cognition, and behaviour in devastating ways. Imagine losing control not just of your body, but of your mind, when your mind is the very thing that defines you. On August 11th, 2014, Robin Williams died at the age of 63. The news spread quickly, and the reaction was immediate and global. It didn't feel like just another celebrity death. It felt personal to millions of people, because for decades he had been part of their lives. He made them laugh when they needed it. He made them cry when they didn't expect to. He reminded them to think, to feel, to connect. And maybe that's the most important thing to understand about Robin Williams. He wasn't just a comedian or an actor or even a performer. He was a bridge between joy and pain, chaos and clarity, laughter and silence. His legacy isn't just in films like Dead Poets Society or Good Will Hunting. It's in the way he made people feel seen, even when he was the one on stage. And that voice, the one that could become anyone, say anything, go anywhere, it hasn't really disappeared. It's still there. Every time someone presses play,